Diane Dean,
All right,
Michelle Sparks.
Michelle Sparks and Andrea.
And,
All right.
hi.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I got 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and start this off. First item up here is gonna look at the minutes, which are not available from last month's meeting. So looks like Jamie made a note in here. We are going to approve minutes from last month's meeting and this month's meeting in January. We'll go right into new business. We have one facade grant request. And attached to that, Jamie's also prepared some notes regarding budget and the dollars that are actually available.
There should be
Some photos.
some extra quotes attached to that.
I've got 2 quotes here. Well, no, I've got,
Got the one, there should be, I sent you guys some additionals, so maybe we'll just have to put it up on the screen.
yeah, we've got one in the packet.
Which weren't any better than the
First one.
first one, they, because it's a custom window size. Even the quotes for a good vinyl window come in like $1,000 less than, what some of these are. Wait until you see the other quotes. One is ridiculous.
It might be good to show both quotes up there because this is a little blurry.
Yeah, you'll be able to see them.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I should have had this pulled up.
No worries.
No problem.
So you're not gonna share the screen in the Zoom meeting?
I will, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, look at the worst of the worst quote. You'll see it.
Good Lord.
I know.
So,
But I'll never use.
yeah.
Yeah, this is just outrageous, but we're still even as I talked to both of these other ones today about how it's a little bit.
Linda, if you're talking about it, you might want to wait till he gets his screen up, just
Yeah.
so everybody can hear what you're saying if you don't.
If you guys want to pass this or this is actually an old photo when there was a lot of snow of what the front of the building looked like many years ago.
Cool. Is that what the windows will look like now, sort of?
That's what we're trying to get the upstairs windows to look like and the downstairs door and add that glass.
Up there?
Yep. So that.
A little bit.
Give it the look that it had.
Okay, so you had sent it to this email, yeah. Let's see, so these are photos. Did you have it attached to this email?
That's the last one. The first one I sent to you added to the quote.
This
There you
attachment?
go.
Okay.
Yep.
Nancy.
Oh,
Just like, get up,
All right, so why don't we do this? We're now screen sharing so everyone can see what's up on the screen. Linda, why don't you just walk us through? We have 3 separate quotes for this?
actually I have 4,
4?
but we did not, I mean, the worst of the worst one is in there, but nobody wants to consider that one. So basically this is what the windows upstairs and the front looks like now without the fencing, yay. So you can see that things are deteriorating. We need to make a move on this and also just aesthetically just trying to get it back to what the building looked like many years ago, which there's a picture that got passed around.
It's right by you now.
Oh, cool.
Is there any way to show it on the big screen for?
Unfortunately, I didn't find this to send it over to them. I don't think you guys have this.
No. And
Um, But basically, the windows were trimmed in white and above the door was a big square glass panel.
Between the Daddy Suber and the other awning, the yellowish part. Yeah, right
Right
there.
there. It was a big giant glass kind of square panel. Which is historically how it was set up. So that's what we're trying to get back to. So the quotes came in high, because unfortunately, these are not normal sized windows. So now everything is custom. And even when I price out not doing custom and building it out from the outside, then you get hit with the labor costs and the additional maintenance costs on what it will take to maintain the building, or maintain the windows versus going with a really high-end vinyl, aluminum clad or fiberglass. So we're trying to keep it with the aesthetically the look it had. And hopefully we're trying to break the budget, but as you'll see from numbers, they're quite high when you include the door and all the 6 windows. So our lowest quote came in at 12,152. Then we go up to 15,900. We go up to 17,200. And the worst of the worst we're not even considering is 31,000.
Wow. So there's a big X across that one. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just threw that in there so you guys can see what, you know, I know I'm getting gigged a bit on labor and I can try to drive these things down a little bit, but I talked to two different contractors on the way down, the way here, and at best, they're telling me to shave off $1,000. And they're saying, you know, it's probably not worth it to make the windows not as good a quality.
So that one, we don't even need to look at anymore.
We don't, unless you want to memorize the name.
So just so we know what we'd be looking at for the total project cost, are you content with the lowest bid as far as possibly going forward with that individual?
I am between the lowest and the next one.
Which is this one? 15.2?
Is the 15.9.
I don't think it's in there.
Right there. It's right at the top, goes
Yeah, it's up at
right
the top.
there. It's kind of hard to see. So right under project name, off to the right, there. it is.
Oh, really, really tiny word.
I know. I missed it the first couple of times through too. So. And I just talked to everybody this morning. They're telling me windows and doors, you know, some can get in a week, some will be three weeks out. And then, of course, scheduling labor right now is interesting, but most of them felt like we could get it done within the next month or so.
This is Diane Dean, and I've got a question. I've been participating in these meetings that the county and the Community Foundation have been hosting with all the nonprofits. And they actually has anybody else in this group been in those meetings? I don't think so. They handed out a document and they had a meeting with 79 different funding organizations and partners for North Carolina, and they identified areas where a variety of these organizations are doing granting for the community. And one of the categories is natural and cultural related buildings or areas that are historic. And I'm just wondering if there is other grant money out there that could be applied for so that the city resources could be used somewhere else, or if the city would be able to apply for some of these grants. I mean, it's been a little frustrating in these meetings that we haven't had a strong representation for any of the historic districts or for the arts communities. But I'm just wondering, there might be other funding out there, and would it make sense to research it?
And unfortunately, Jamie's not here, so
So-
you probably know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a, thank you for that input. I think we could just make a note of that in the minutes of this meeting. That's something that, and especially addressed for the 2025 budget as far as, looking outside the box as far as additional resources that are available for, especially to specifically apply to the HIP, facade grant program. So we could just make a note of that in the minutes and then,
Friends of Downtown, which is a nonprofit, could be the ones that could possibly apply for something like that. But Diane, these aren't nonprofit buildings for business, these are
No,
for
but
profit.
it's really, part of it is historic districts. I mean, they're looking at the
Well,
whole
Seventh Avenue
economic.
It's not. it's a
Seventh Avenue
historic-
is not
Yeah,
historic
it's a
district.
historic building. It's a historic significant building, but it is not a historic district.
It is.
Well, it
so
says
I can speak.
related buildings or areas that are historic. So, and the companies that are listed in here are companies like Duke Energy, Blue Cross and Blue Shield. There are a lot of organizations that I think are looking at the whole economic recovery and anything that will make any area, especially any historic areas or buildings, better. I just think it'd be worth looking into.
Mhm.
Well, our test this morning has to do with the facade grant, recommendation for funding. Discussion about other, resources, and there are a lot, from the storm, but, I think we have to table that to the next meeting, where we can address it more appropriately, have some additional information. My only comment here, and I don't know if you want to move it along that fast, but our budget has been sliced in more than in half for 2025. And, you know, maybe they'll come up with more money later in the year. But our forecast right now is for 3 additional potential facade grant requests in the early part of the year. Personally, I'll toss out $3,000 on this particular request. I don't think we can max like we were anticipating before, given that the budget has been cut and we have to keep some reserves for additional requests throughout the year.
Well, it is a big project, that's for sure. Yeah, because if reading the notes we got from Agenda, from the downtown, from Jamie dated December 3rd, grant requests and funds available. It sounds like for 2024-25 cash flow, there's basically 30,000 because Friends gave 15,000 to Love Hendo Business Recovery Fund, which turns around and helps everybody. Can you get any from there by any chance? Any money from that? Or because there's no business in there now, you can't really do it?
I did not apply for anything
Okay.
through that. I mean, I guess technically as a landlord doing a rent abatements and some things like that, I did through this process. I probably could have, but I didn't. You know, and I can't vote on this one, obviously,
Mhm.
but if we're talking about the funding of it, if it's not going to be fully funded, I think we need to change the grant because right now it says 6,000. Or up to. So just FYI for anyone else who's looking at it.
yeah, it does say up to 6,000 being the maximum, not
Not
grant,
guaranteed,
right?
but I think we should adjust that for next year if we are going to. Just so people are clear with what they're bringing in.
What's the recommendation to adjust what?
It just means that we have up to the ability to grant 6,000. It doesn't mean we have to do it. Yeah, yeah.
That's the way the grant,
It kind of.
Yeah.
that's the way the grant terms are written, so that we can award anywhere from, you know, $25 to 6,000, depending on the circumstances.
Right,
Um,
right,
and that's, so it's variable.
right.
So what are the other ones next year? You were saying three more coming in. I haven't had a chance to reread this. Oh,
Right.
that right here?
So
Yeah.
there's a potential for where Daddy D's was. She's looking at redoing that door
Mm.
situation. And between all of us, I'm not 100% sure that's going to qualify under our grant. I mean, there is a door repair that needs to be done, and I was not gonna present that to the city. But the potential new tenant coming in would like to kind of reconfigure that door situation. And I'm not sure, based on the grant guidelines, whether that's going to meet the guidelines or not. And then Jamie said there's two more on Main Street that
Well,
have approached her.
Jane Asher is one of them.
yeah, I'm not sure though, we base decisions now on what isn't even here yet in the future. I mean, we know we're gonna always get some kind of grant requests, because people
Right.
are understanding that that's available. And we do know that, is it some of this money, the grant request money that will go towards the reopening of Seventh Avenue? I mean, that's in the works, right?
It's lined out right here.
Yeah, right.
There's, yeah, the
I'm
Seventh
looking right
Avenue
at it.
opening expenses are in with that, that
Which means the
balance.
max that would get would be 6,000
No,
from this? No, it wouldn't
Nothing.
come from this money.
Right.
Okay, so,
It's just in that budget or those funds allocated
Yeah,
this is the money that Friends has so.
all their.
But just to be, I mean, I guess the idea in talking to Jamie about what is the goal of this morning's meeting as applies to this. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but it seems to me like we don't necessarily need to make a final approval as far as the dollar amount on this project today. That the discussion need to be about, first of all, do we all still like this project? Do we think it qualifies under the terms of the facade grant program, which I think we all agree it does? And the second component of that would be the money, and then understanding, and that's why Jamie, I think I would like to see a little bit more clarity as far as the actual dollars and what's available right now and what would be available in 25. But as far as my discussion with Jamie, she wasn't looking for us to make a final determination in a monetary amount on this today.
well, the bottom line though, doesn't this go to downtown advisory for the final approval or does it not? I can't remember. Does this committee alone approve what could be done for these or it
This
goes
will be this would be our
to
recommendation.
downtown advisory?
And then we go to advisory.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So
We could make a recommendation, but it's really gonna have to do, it's not a yay or nay on this one. I think it's a yay, but it's the dollar amount. And is it the full maximum? Because that's gonna take a big chunk out of the budget. This is, or is it a lesser amount, or is there more discussion about that? But I think that,
well, how about this then? How about I move that we approve that we do want to give some grant award for this project. The final dollar amount to be determined during a full downtown advisory board meeting?
well, advisory board meeting was canceled for next week.
Right,
So this group would meet in January, and then the following week
Okay.
would be the final approval. So you would then have approval the second week of January. And also
On the dollar.
keep in mind on the dollar amount. But I think we could say that this committee's recommendation would be that we would be approving this project. We just need some more discussion and clarity about the numbers before we allot the full maximum, which I'm sure that we would just love to just say yes and do that. But, we also need to look at I only, and somebody point this out, if I just don't see it, I don't see what the exact, what our balance is.
mhm.
Like, it's not here. How much money do we have? There's a projection
Well,
of
we
how
put
much money we're gonna have
40,000,
next
yeah,
year.
in a CD. Yeah, it doesn't, well, does this
So I don't-
allow Linda to go ahead? Because, you don't start on a project
Well, and
before
that's-
you apply for the grant. So if she knows
Yeah.
she's gonna get
No,
some money.
it actually says that, So you can apply for the grant after you've started the project, just not before you complete the project.
That's correct.
So right here, no application or grant will be given to work already
Oh,
completed.
okay.
So you could feasibly start this, if it's a time sensitive thing, you could start this
Right.
as understanding that you're gonna have the final decision in a month's time.
Yeah.
As long as it's not completed before the second week of January, then you should be fine.
We
You
need
know?
to make a note too, or question.
Well, if we start it,
Yeah.
it'll be completed.
Do we have any money left over from 24?
They'll get it done that fast. Yeah,
We
I
need
mean,
to
once-
understand that.
Yeah.
so can you wait till January?
I
I
can,
mean,
I mean, yeah.
I think that we don't have all, there are numbers here that I would like to see before making a determination.
Quote's still
Yeah.
good in January.
That's a good question. Most of them say 30 days, so will I have to get some things requoted? Probably.
You know, it also says here, second floor building facades would count as one facade grant and the first floor facade would count as one per storefront. So I don't know if the door, the transom above, the glass above the door is first or second floor.
Well, what we talked about in the last meeting was that it's the doorway to go to the second floor.
Ah,
The door.
It has nothing to do with
Floor.
either
Okay.
storefront on either side.
okay.
So we were considering it a second floor expense.
Okay, so going forward,
And I mean, we can, and there could also be a scenario here where, if it's, there might be, we've done this before, we've actually approved some facade grants via emails, basically sending out an email to folks and saying, hey, this is time sensitive. Or even calling a special meeting. We've done that, I think, once in the past. So if it was really that, I mean, I think, Jamie not being here is a big deal. And there are some numbers that I think we would like to see, but
Well,
the consensus here is that this is a project that we will approve. It's just determining the dollar amount. And, and looking at the numbers to see how much money we have right now and also understand that we're all on the same page about if we do let's say we do the full maximum, let's say we do the 6,000 for this project. Then what does that actually leave us with additional projects that
Yeah.
are pending that might be of equal or, equal significance? I mean, that's one of the takeaways with this program is that it has definitely become more discretionary. And I think that we need to be really mindful of that, especially when it comes to the dollars, because, it is within our purview to be discretionary about how these dollars are given out. So there might be some projects I'm not saying that this is one of them, but there might be some projects that come across that we're like, you know what? I think those dollars could be spent better somewhere else on another project, on another building. This is obviously historically a historic building. This is it's a medium scale project. I think we're in agreement as far as this falling within the guidelines and also discretionary being
right,
a significant, impactful use of those dollars. It's just a
Well,
matter of how much.
especially with
No.
Seventh Avenue.
well, that's what I was about to say, with Seventh
Yes.
Avenue being beautifully impacted finally by this gorgeous new street and all that, the buildings, it would be great to see them come up to a newer, more improved, while retaining the historic look. And we do have, it is mentioned in these notes from Jamie that we have 110,000 pending deposits from the bear auction, which goes into unreserved funds. And it does say that we elected to reserve, or the board, the Friends Board, they did, 40,000 in a higher yield CD. I don't know if that's from existing money or the anticipated 110,000 they're coming with. So
Yeah.
there's more money that's potentially out there, but it sounds like the final decision is going to be in 2025 as to the amount.
Yeah.
But it sounds like I haven't heard anyone, have you, that's not interested in giving some kind of grant. We just don't know what the amount.
And I think that should be the notes, the outcome of today's meeting should be that this board likes this project, would approve the grant request. It's just a matter of not having all the numbers in front of us, and I'm not, personally, I'm not comfortable saying we're giving you 3,000 or 4,000 or $6,000. I'm
Well,
not comfortable today doing that without knowing exactly how much money we have.
and
We get the data before our next meeting so that we can look at it and make this recommendation to the board.
Right, well, that would have to come from city staff, so, I mean, that would be
Jamie.
from Jamie or.
one of the things, yeah, one of the things Jamie had said to me, when they decided to put money aside for businesses and impacted from the hurricane, it came from this fund. Because she didn't see any grant requests coming in. Now, you guys have known this one's coming in for quite a while because I've spoke about it several times. But it's a matter of trying to get these numbers together,
Right.
which has taken months. I've been working on this since this summer, believe it or not.
And I just want to just
Yeah.
go back to Jane, because I don't know if it's fully in there, but on her, in the email she sent out was Jamie's recommendation. So for 2025, she's planning to budget the 12,000.
Yeah, that's.
So she was saying, you know, we're gonna have some money in 2025, and if you guys felt comfortable giving that 6,000, we'd still have 6,000 for next year. It's a matter of if you wanted to save a little bit more or go ahead and give the max. Because we do have a lot of bare deposits that we're waiting to get back in as well. We raised over $120,000. So just to kind of give that some clarity from Jamie's recommendation on her email, just to kind of maybe put that into somewhat of perspective, she was kind of saying, like, if y'all are comfortable giving the max, that's fine. We'll just have 6,000 going into next year.
Why is it just $12,000? Who determined that? And Friends of
I
Board?
think they pulled money out. to
Yeah,
go
just like she was
to other
saying,
things.
a lot of money that we had in reserves went to a lot of business recovery funds with just spread out through
We
different.
had a lot of requests.
We had a lot of requests and yeah, and that's why the chamber's been doing a lot of fundraisers too, to continue to raise money. Cause the last fundraiser, we had 65,000 in reserves, and the fundraiser raised an additional, like, I think Jamie said it was almost 10,000 or something like that. So, and there's like $1 million worth of requests. So a lot of the money, like you were saying, went to hurricane recovery. So that's why there's only 12,000 from my
And this, okay, and this is not a hurricane recovery
project.
project.
So
Well,
is there 12,000, so that 12,000 that is set aside for facade grants specifically?
For
Is that-
2025.
Is that's for effective January 1st, 20, so we have nothing now.
I can read you the whole slur.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Jamie's recommendation, budget 12,000 for facade grants for 2025. Community character team to determine grant award amount with the understanding that this is what we'll have available currently. Community character team to decide if they would like this grant request to be fully funded, 6,000, which will be half of the budget for grants. Please take this into consideration. We will only have 6,000 remaining for further notice.
it says we
Not-
can evaluate funds available mid-year after evaluating events and funding. So
Right.
it could change.
That, I just wanted to throw that out there from her email.
Well, I know some people don't want, I think $6,000 going towards improving this building for Seventh Avenue is not unreasonable. And if we can do it, I think we should. But I understand that we want to wait for some more clarification to the beginning of next year, but that building is needed love and care and, you know,
But the quotes can come in much higher if she has to re-quote. So.
but she already knows that she's going to get some kind of funding, so she can start anytime. She don't have to wait.
Yeah, but it only takes 3 weeks for the project.
I was gonna say, I'll have to wait. I mean, I could get them to order the windows mid-December, but I will have to wait because once the windows come in and the door, they will get rocking. So it won't take that long to do it.
So your project, you don't want to even start till you know you get some kind of funding from.
I mean, it would be helpful to know what I'm spending.
So just so we're on the same page, so if we do the maximum on this project, we're gonna be starting the year with 6,000, which could be very well be the maximum on another project if it came across. with additional funding available mid-year, but not understanding what that dollar amount is gonna be. So we're starting the year with half of it gone.
It's my understanding.
But if we approve this project as full, so your project is not, this grant would not be approved, unless I'm wrong here, this grant would not be approved until the January Downtown Advisory Board meeting,
Mhm.
Unless she presents verbally.
unless you do that special thing with friend holidays is, I don't know if that's even, if that's something that.
I mean, they might,
But-
only because they.
Then it has to go to after we approve it, then it has to go on for further approval.
Right.
Once Downtown Advisory votes on this, it's done.
Oh,
It
really?
doesn't go to city council.
Okay.
This does not go to city, it is our recommendation. We make a recommendation to Downtown Advisory votes, it needs to be a quorum, obviously, and they vote on that, and then it's done, and then it goes off, for processing.
Project. I really.
You know, here's a question. There's only, 4 of us here. You have to be present to, I mean, we're just a committee, not just, we are, you know, we do a lot of good, but there's only 4 of us here that can actually vote.
Can they vote online? Is there anyone online?
Yeah, there's Diane Dean's on the board, Michelle, I think, is on the board for sure.
Are they on here?
Yeah, it's a big president.
Yeah. So that might be.
Online,
Right,
but
yeah.
I think the committee has voted online before.
yeah.
That was during COVID, but I think it can change. Actually,
From my understanding, and again, I'm just here taking minutes, there was a change with like Angie in legal with how board and committee meetings are run in the past, since I've been here for the past 2 years or so, about, I can't remember if it's if there's a difference in committees and board meetings, whether who can vote online and who can't vote online. Because I know there was talk about that at the Downtown Advisory Board, and like you had to be present, and that's why attendance at the Downtown Advisory Board was really encouraged moving forward. I'm not sure about committees.
Maybe it could be in the meeting minutes.
Yeah, I can make it-
That the group here voted and then additional online.
Like,
And then they could say whether those were valid or not.
So I think what we should do is, if we're all in agreement, we just go down the room and go, anybody online, the topic of agreement would be that we will be, approving this facade grant request. We will be recommending it to the Downtown Advisory, to go forward, but as far as the dollar amount, that could be addressed mid-month, maybe. You know, I mean, I'm not, you know, it's,
I think you guys should make the recommendation here, and then you don't necessarily have to say that it's approved to that, but I think what Jamie wanted was the group to make a recommendation of the dollar.
that might be helpful, even going to the downtown board, if you kind of give them an idea of what y'all are thinking as far as an amount goes, and then that can be further discussed or adapted.
well, how about then, we have one proposal, it can be shot down or it can be voted up. I'd like to move that we approve the full amount of $6,000 to be finally discussed by Downtown Advisory Board. They can always change the amount.
I agree.
so I'm okay with that. Keep in mind, this group is going to meet once again before Downtown Advisory would approve this. Right? So the first week in January, this group would meet once again. And then, I think we should go, I'm okay with that, with the idea that at that meeting, we're going to just delve a little bit more into the numbers and,
We'll have more details.
have a little bit more detail on the numbers and then make our final recommendation to Downtown Advisory, which would be the second week of January.
This is Kristen. I put up a chat notice a few minutes ago. I was responding to Phil's comment about the dollar amounts. I tend to be in agreement with him. Until we know better numbers, I don't think we can I'm not comfortable myself recommending the full amount until we know more.
Well, then why don't we get a vote of everybody online as well as in here? And again, it's not final because everything has to be finally decided through Downtown Advisory Board. And as Matthew has said, we're still going to meet again in early January, and we'll have more specifics about the dollar amount that's available, or, you know, et cetera. More answers to some unknowns.
All right, so is everyone that's online, their audios turned on? Can they?
Yep.
Diane,
Yep.
can you let us know where you stand on this?
Yeah, I guess I think the motion needs to be restated because I think it's kind of changed a little bit. So if we're ready
All
to
right,
vote,
well, I'll move that we approve full funding up to of the $6,000 for this project for Linda. I don't want to say your last name,
DPayola.
DPAO's building for the windows. So that's the motion. You don't really need a second, but I think if do we have a second?
Yes, you do.
We do. So that's the motion. If you're for or against it, you can just vote. It won't hurt anyone's feelings. And again, it's not final, even though we approve it, so.
Or
but once it's.
then
once
why
it's
are we
approved-
approving it with money?
Because that's the request.
But if we're not saying a dollar amount, we say a dollar amount and we can change it in January, why even say a dollar amount now?
Yeah, I agree.
I think because Jamie wanted us to come out with the recommendation of a dollar amount. At least that's
Yeah.
what I'm hearing.
Yes.
right, well,
This
that's-
is Andrea Eisen. I have one question. Will this project be done with or without the grant, or is it dependent upon the grant?
Quality of the project will be dependent on the grant.
Okay.
I have a problem with that statement. Linda, it's your building.
I mean,
You're gonna do, you know, the best you can to advance the value of your building. I don't think the project would change, or it shouldn't change. And the quality of the materials shouldn't change because you've already nixed the very expensive wood windows, which I would too. You know, the quality should be consistent regardless of that. I don't get that, so.
I mean, I may end up putting a metal door on the bottom to save thousands. And know that, you know, the metal I won't have to replace down the road. Aesthetically, it's not gonna look as nice, but it will hold up just as long. But it's not what I would like to do. I don't want to have to put in something that's inferior quality, and later on down the road have to change it out. But we are also in the process of remodeling Daddy D's, so I only have so much money to go different places. So I have to look at what I've got and where I can put it. And aesthetically, we're working on the back windows of the building too, but that's gonna be more of a boarding up and making them look better. So there's a lot more going on than just this project. So we've got tens of thousands of dollars going out the door right now. So I just have to use my dollars wisely. And, you know, there's only so much cash to go around.
So in my discussions with Jamie about the intentions of this meeting, I mean, you know, as far as us making a motion, voting on it, as far as the dollar amount of the facade, I did not get that from her. As far as her expecting us to do that without her being here and without more attendance as well, on this project. And I know that this is time sensitive on your end and you would like to start this as soon as possible. And I know that you would
Yeah.
like, it would be good to know how much you're gonna get.
It would be helpful.
But I just feel like, I mean, personally, I feel like, not personally, but I feel like the consensus here is that we would love to approve this project for the maximum, but we have to understand that this is eating up quite half of our budget. And we don't know how much money is coming in and when it's coming in for future projects.
Well,
So,
would it help to restate the motion as, I move that we support the request for funding for this project at a minimum of 3,000 or 4,500, but with one more meeting for this committee in January, that possibly could go up to the maximum of 6,000. So
Okay,
it's open,
so-
a little more.
so the motion would be that this committee is approving this facade grant application. Right now, we're comfortable with 3,000 for that and with further evaluation at next month's meeting. So that you can go forward, you can start the work, you know what I mean? And I think so let's get this motion down so we can.
Okay, I move that we approve this request for funding initially with a $3,000 grant, but with the option of increasing that up to the max, which would be 6,000 after further review of the funding and our next meeting at downtown Advisory in January.
All right, so we're looking for a second on that one.
I second.
All right, and now we need to vote, right? So, Diane, how do you feel about that motion?
I agree. Yes.
Andrea on the line?
Yes.
Okay, Kristen
Yes.
and Michelle Sparks.
Yes.
Yeah, around the room, everybody.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
How about this? How do yays? Hands up in the air.
Yays.
Yays? Any opposed? All right,
Okay.
motion is passed.
Okay.
Thank you. Other business?
Did you want to update on the Jane Asher and those other projects?
Thank you.
Okay, hello, everyone. I'm Sam Hayes. I'm in the planning department, but I'm also the staff liaison for the Historic Preservation Commission. And so Jamie and I met pre-hurricane with the owners of the Jane Asher building and the former Scotty's Jewelers buildings. And to talk about potentially doing tax credit projects on those buildings. It appears that neither of them are going that route, but they are both kind of in the process of submitting their designs to our Historic Preservation Commission for review. Jane Asher seems like it's moving along fairly quickly. The first step on that project is to remove the cheese grater off the front of the building, which staff can approve that, and they're hoping to do that sometime in the new year, January or February, maybe all goes well, to kind of take stock of what's behind there and then finalize their plan for that building.
What did you call that stuff?
I called it the cheese grater.
Cheese grater.
Yes. Not a technical term by any means, but that's what I call it. And so that's kind of the first step on that project. And then, like I said, Scotty's Jewelers is in the process of submitting their plans. They've already removed their metal sheathing. And so they should get theirs in hopefully soon. And so hopefully in the new year, they will begin those two projects.
So we'd be expecting facade grant.
Yeah, I think both of them are planning, or they're aware of the facade grant program, obviously, and they're planning on submitting a grant application.
And those, probably both of those projects would be 12,000 up as far as the scope of the project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Based on the pricing of
Yeah.
windows, you can see where
Yeah.
things are these days.
All right,
I need to go into business.
yeah. All right, well, thank you for that update. Does anyone else have anything around the room? I do have one thing that I would like to, I don't know if we need to, I want to get this on next month's agenda. So I guess I would be making a motion for that and we can approve that to be added to next month's agenda. This is important and I don't believe we've discussed this with this committee at all, as far as, now with the street being reopened, parking signage, parking time limits. To my knowledge, that has not been discussed as far as first of all, there's signs going back up because I think they probably should have been up if they were going back up. We're talking about the, before there was 2-hour parking on Seventh itself.
Yeah.
So on Seventh, it was 2-hour limit parking, and then on the side streets, it was not timed on the parking. Obviously, no one's discussing paid parking, but the idea of having these signs put back up and basically reinforcing our 2-hour parking, since especially now, parking on Seventh is super important. And just like what we did with downtown, we want to make sure that employees and business owners aren't taking advantage of that parking. And so I just wanted to see if we could put that on next month's agenda to discuss time parking and signage on Seventh Avenue.
On the part that wasn't improved further towards Home Depot, it still has the 2-hour.
Those signs are
Yeah.
still up, yes, but the signs on the improved part of the street have, and I haven't seen anything laid into the ground for preparation for reinstalling those signs. So I don't think that, I don't know if that was a split, an oversight and everything, but we definitely need to be concerned with time limits on parking on Seventh Avenue.
Will you have some recommendations that you think it should be?
Well, what we'll do is this, so I just wanted to make sure that it gets put on next month's agenda. And then, at that next month's meeting, I and anyone else that has specific recommendations for that. You know, are we going back to 2 hours? Does it need to be 1 hour, you know, for more turnover spaces?
Would we want it to also go possibly on maybe a half a block onto Maple and Locust too? Also, because we've got less parking on Seventh now, which means it's gonna roll
Yeah.
around the corners. And it's not that far when you're
No.
looking at those spaces.
Yeah,
It's not, I think that probably should be addressed as well.
I think side street should be added.
Yeah, and then now you go down, the conversation continues because you're correct. There's gonna be more parking specifically on Maple. And, you know, this is something, and this is something that we have addressed in the past, or I've addressed, is that when you get a lot of cars parked on Maple, you have, it gets
Traffic
pretty tight
Yeah, it
in there.
does.
So there could be discussion about perhaps, you know, having a segment of one side of Maple that has no parking, just to kind of keep it from tightening up there at the intersection of Maple and Seventh. But yeah, when you have, and especially you have vehicles using Maple as a pass through, which happens all the time, you know, shortcuts. So I think all those things we should talk about at next month's meeting, but definitely, definitely, I think at a bare minimum, we need to get the signage back up on Seventh
Yeah.
itself for at least the 2-hour maximum, so.
Yeah.
And those are hard, I mean, that's hardscape. I mean, it's drill, I mean, they're drilling it, but they're gonna be, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised those weren't put back up before the opening, so.
Well, and
Are the
maybe-
parking monitor employees, will they be going down Seventh Avenue? then?
100%.
Nobody monitors anything over there.
That's what I'm
Wow.
wondering. If
So
you put
it-
down-
no,
It's the Wild West.
It's downtown Hendersonville, it has to do with signage,
It
right?
was
Yes.
monitored.
So if
it
there's no
was
signs up-
monitored Previously.
It was.
Okay,
it was.
that's all I was
Yeah,
wondering.
It wasn't actively monitored, but if we're, let's just say this, if there were situations where you had a sustained observable abuse of the parking down there, it was addressed.
There we go.
But as far as, you know, I mean,
But
you
something
can't
needs to
give
be-
someone a ticket if there's not a sign saying you're gonna give you a ticket.
Right.
So without signage, we can't do anything. We can't enforce any parking down there.
Right across from the rescue mission, there's that one area where 6 or 8 cars can park there. Is there any chance we could continue that further on? Because I'll tell you, I go in there and I volunteer at the rescue mission and there's days I can't find a parking place anywhere.
Yeah, it's city, it's actually a railroad property, and so the city has to work a deal to push the parking.
Because that would
Yeah.
be nice, there's room where they could add more parking going down. And I would just know, because I go there every Friday,
Yeah.
that it's difficult.
Yeah. So all this, I think we should at least start this conversation next month's meeting with prioritizing signage on Seventh right now to help with those spaces, because this will be the next topic of the conversation, especially for this group, will be with the opening of the street, especially with the full opening of Locust there, is that, how are we addressing parking? And additional resources for additional parking, adding parking, but also putting limits on the parking spaces that are there right now, which is the first step. So,
Did you want to make a motion?
yeah, so I would make a motion that we're adding to our next month agenda,
New
that we
business.
will have a specific conversation on parking on Seventh Avenue.
Maple and Locust.
The district specifically with getting signage up with parking time limits. That's my motion.
Is there still signs on Locust?
Yes. They're
No,
not on the,
there was never signs on Locust.
no, the side streets have never been timed.
Yeah.
So the only time parking, which was a 2-hour limit, was on Seventh itself, all the way down Seventh. So those signs on the improved portion have been all removed and not replaced.
I was wondering about that.
For a second, sorry.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
I have
Anybody
one more thing.
Yes.
I don't know if this is the appropriate meeting. Karen E. Bain and I have secured Cat Williams to perform at the May event. She's a jazz and blues singer. She was a finalist on America's Got Talent. She's really quite an amazing performer, and she has agreed to perform. I don't know what the budget is, but we can contribute something, and she could perform with her own band or with a band that we also hire. Just wanted to get that out there.
All right, well, thank you for that.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know if you know her, but she is really fabulous. And she's a local, to this area, and is actually on our board, so.
You know what would cost to have her?
I don't know. I don't
Oh.
think it's an enormous amount. And as I said, if we have another band, she could sing with them rather than bring her group. But
She's local. We have her at the Juneteenth event at the farmer's market. The Starlight chapter works with her. I don't know if she does it for free for them. But she's come out a few times and sang and talked and hung out. So she's really good.
Wow,
Yeah.
when you say local, Henderson County or somewhere in western North Carolina? Just curious.
I think,
Yes.
yeah.
Henderson County.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, cool.
yeah, I mean, she's a real talent, and I think would bring a lot of energy to that event. So just let's keep that on the agenda. We'll get more information, especially when we know the date and stuff. But as I said, we're willing to fund part of it.
We know the date, don't we? This is Diane. I thought the
Okay.
date is May 3rd.
Okay,
Yeah,
Isn't it?
we have confirmed that as a
That
day.
is the.
Yeah.
Who's
Pardon me?
calling for-
All right,
It-
anybody else online? Anybody else in the
Yeah,
room?
this is Diane. Can you hear me? Am I on? Yeah, I
Yeah.
am.
We can hear you,
It-
Diane.
Okay, I mean, I was under the understanding that the date was May 3rd and already defined. Is there a team that's gonna be working on the schedule of activities for that event?
The city, wouldn't it?
No.
Well,
With-
I thought
we have our
it
That's us.
subcommittees.
Okay. Yeah,
Because you want to be able to know when Artscape,
Yeah, because we had talked about having the Artscape banner reveal on the stage. And normally we also have the exhibit of the original paintings. So when we've done the reveal for the last 2 years, we've had the reveal in our building where the artwork was hung. So I'm wondering if there would be any space available in any of the buildings that would be available or possibly open just for a temporary exhibit to turn that into the Artscape banner reveal and an opportunity for anyone attending the event to see the original paintings that were used for the banners. And I don't know at what point you're going to start planning for the logistics of that meeting or that event.
Diane, I think if you have someone put together an outline of what the event would be, timeline and, support facilities. then we can address that in January and February. While we're putting the whole program together.
So that should go to you, Phil, from Diane?
Well,
I mean, she would be putting it together, so should. it
Well,
be you?
Diane or, some of the crew over there on the Artscape committee. Just give we need an outline of the activities, time,
How
for
much time?
presentations. If you want a facility, I can talk to Lyle. We may have one of those spaces across the street that would still be vacant, don't know. But that's that's a good possibility.
That'd be good exposure for his space.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
okay. Well, so are you asking me to do just the artscape related planning
Yes.
Yeah.
or plan the event? Is someone going to be the lead for planning the entire event with music and what else?
Yeah, it's a subcommittee, right? Seventh Avenue.
Committee, but Terry was going
That's
to work
something,
with
yeah.
us with the subcommittee.
Yeah.
Terry, I think
When-
we're supposed to have one
yeah,
more meeting
so-
and Terry be involved in it.
Yeah, because Terry's out right now. So, and the last time we had a meeting on this, we talked about doing this at the beginning of the new year, kind of start finalizing like bands and layouts and things like that. So as far as the event goes itself, I think we should just table that conversation until Terry can be involved and then just kind of go from there, because we have till May. But I think as far as Phil was saying, if you want to start working on the art stuff now that you wanted to do, just kind of get that together, it would make it easier
I
to
will.
add to the event as we discuss it moving forward.
Okay, perfect. I'll put together, what I think what we could do.
All right. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn, everyone.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Kyle.